39-0 is the final. Michigan dominates today against UConn, Sam. That was a formality before heading into this contest, but whenever you're this big of a favorite, you want to see the results. Michigan got that. Start number 2 for J.J. McCarthy. No touchdown passes today, but still, I think fairly accurate. 3 incomplete passes. Nitpick a little bit more this game compared to last game, but Michigan did what it had to do, and it's 3-0, and they're going into Big Ten play ready to roll.
See, I don't know. You can't really nitpick today. He had basically one bad decision from what I can remember off the top of my head. He pulled it on a counter. He pulled it on a counter, and he should have given it. It might have been a touchdown if he had given it. I mean, I don't know, but that's like the one decision. Other than that, what you notice with J.J. McCarthy is very few wasted plays. I mean, he had early in the game, he had I think 4 or 5 run control bubbles. Everyone was the right decision. Everyone was a catchable ball that allowed for yak. And that's the other thing that you notice. When he hits his receivers, he hits them in stride. He hits them in positions where they could do something with the ball. You talk to any offensive coordinator, they say, half of your yards are through the air, half of your yards are yak or rack or whatever you want to call it. JJ opens that up. And then the other thing that you see, I mean, it was the pass, I want to say maybe it was the Henning, wide side of the field. That is open up. I mean, he can make every throw. He expands the field. He expands the playbook, the play he made on the run, the throw he made on the run. That was a dart down here. Just the playmaking ability, the decision making that you see from him. I know this was the worst team that they played.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. There were some people that were disagreeing with that on Twitter when I said it. I don't know what game they were watching. This team might have been more stout up front defensively, but man, everything else they were worse. In fairness to them, they were injury depleted offensively, but they were worse offensively. They were worse on special teams. So you say, what can you get out of this game? You got more reps for J.J. McCarthy. That is very important. Every throw is important for him because he said it in the post-game press conference. He's feeling more comfortable with every game, with every snap, and he feels like his growth is exponential. Even in a scrimmage like this, which is essentially what it was, right? You got more reps for your receivers, everyone across the receiver board got more reps. For your young guys, your offensive linemen, your young guys like Trente Jones, you need to get them as many reps as possible. That's why you had starters in the game through the third quarter. People are like, why you got your starters in right now? Those guys you need to condition your guys for 4 quarters.
Yes.
Your starters had only played 2 quarters in the first 2 games. You got to get them ready, conditioned to play 4 quarters. And then the inexperience of J.J. McCarthy, the inexperience of Trente Jones. You had Giovanni Ohadi in there when Trevor Keegan went out. You had some pieces in there that needed more reps. That's why you play those guys deeper into the game, getting ready for Big Ten play next week.
Obviously, the big story coming in the season was Cade McNamara versus J.J. McCarthy. Who's going to win that starting role? Cade gets hurt at the end of the first half. Only played 2 snaps. Sort of rolled his ankle, something like that. Harbaugh says he's going to be out minimum. Looks like a few weeks here. It's JJ's team, and then Michigan now is dealing with a little bit of injury bug. They got Cade out, like you mentioned, Keegan. You got some key players out on this team. How is this team going to respond, and can they just reload in those positions?
Yeah, so a couple of things. First of all, it was nice to hear the fans give Cade McNamara a standing ovation. He gets in, it's a sack right away, man. So it's twofold there. Maybe he held the ball a little too long, but he got pressure right off the edge. So that's again, why do you need reps? More in the game, you need to get your young linemen as many reps as possible. But the backup quarterback, the thing that had me second guessing my thought about playing J.J. McCarthy in the third quarter, because I said at halftime, if it's me, I play J.J. a couple of series in the second half to get those reps that I'm talking about. But when it came to light that Cade was hurt, I'm like, okay, well, now you can make the case that you need to be playing Davis Warren right now, or whoever, or Alan Bowman or Alex Orji, to get those guys as many reps as possible because you're a hit away. He split the difference. JJ played like maybe 2 series. I think he did play like 2 series, and then he started rotating all those quarterbacks. I don't know who it's going to be. It's probably a mixture of those guys. I think you're going to see Alex Orji no matter what. But I'd be interested to know who he would go with. I would bet on probably Alan Bowman based on his experience playing. But as far as production on the field, if it's me, I would go with Davis Warren.
I'm with you 100% on that, but we'll see how that plays out. Hopefully, it doesn't come to that. That's really what.
Absolutely.
So we really hit on the offense. Obviously, this defense has been pretty dominant. Haven't really faced much challenge first three games. Big Ten plays starts here next Saturday. Maryland is no one's expecting them to be a world beater, but it should be a team that's going to be on that border edge, be a bowl eligible team. I expect them to compete a little in that.
No. This will be a test for this defense.
Yeah.
I thought Talia Tagovailoa finished the season really strong last year. They hit the portal for another receiver, going out and getting Copeland from Florida. He was their leading receiver. They had two guys, one being Raheem Jarrett, who's a 5-star guy.
Right.
They may have the second or third best. I don't think their receiving core is better than Michigan's.
Right.
But after Ohio State and Michigan, I think Maryland can make the case for the next best receiving core in the Big Ten. They have some dudes. So you get a chance to test some things. So Jesse Minter in these first couple of contests put a lot on tape or on wax, whatever you want to call it. He has shown you the kitchen sink and pressures, right? And the variation of coverages behind those pressures. That's one of the things that Vance Bedford was talking about, because he was texting me during the game. He was like, he and our board just were like, man, this is the worst team they played. Wow, this is not what I thought it was going to be. You get a chance to put all that stuff on tape. So now Maryland has a ton to prepare for. But what you're looking for if you're Michigan, when you run all these pressures and you have all these zero coverage scenarios, you're putting safeties on wide receivers like we've seen them do against Hawaii, against Colorado State, against UConn today. You're not really, you aren't asking your safety to go up and cover a dude, right? An NFL guy. That's going to be different this week. Can you ask your safeties to stay man-to-man with a Raheem Jarrett or a Copeland?
Absolutely.
Can they come from depth like we saw them do and make tackles in the open field? I'm not saying that they can't do it, but I am saying that that's going to get tested next week. This is a legit offensive team.
And I agree with you, because I think Michigan's going to be in the lead, and when you're down, you generally pass the ball. Plus, like you mentioned, Maryland has that better receiving core that they have faced in a minute. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out. Anything else concern you as you head into that matchup?
Yeah, it's not concerns as much.
Or do you want to?
What offensive line? They have some things to tighten up. Like they get pressure from the edge a little bit. You want to tighten that up. Been leaky in some of the interior run plays. Have been a little leaky at times. Mainly when they're on the move. So counters, pin and pulls, you've seen some leakage in some of those plays. You want to see, is that the kind of thing that gets tightened up as they get into the regular season? I call what we just witnessed Michigan do was the preseason.
It was definitely regular season. I've been calling it all year.
Regular season starts next week.
So hey, that's going to wrap up our coverage here from Michigan Game Day number 3. For Sam Webb, I'm Josh Newkirk for the MichiganInsider.com.